I didn't expect Oliver and me to click the way we did. From the moment we exchanged numbers, there was a buzz of excitement in my chest, a feeling I hadn't experienced in a while. I've always loved meeting new people, but conversations tended to drift, much like my attention span. With Oliver, though, everything felt different. He wasn't just interesting. He challenged me, engaged me, made me think in ways I hadn't before. It was thrilling. Our first date wasn't anything flashy or over the top. Oliver suggested a quaint bookstore cafe downtown, a place I'd only heard about in passing but never visited. The moment I stepped inside, I was enveloped by the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the comforting mustiness of old pages. A string of soft jazz played in the background, creating an ambiance so peaceful it felt almost sacred. When I found him sitting at a corner table, a cup of coffee steaming in front of him and a book in his hand, I couldn't help but grin. "How very on-brand of you, Mr. Bookworm," I teased, sliding into the seat across from him. He glanced up, his lips curling into that small, knowing smile of his.
"And here I thought this would impress a professional conversationalist like you."
It did. We sat there for hours, surrounded by shelves of books, talking about everything under the sun. He told me about the book he was reading, some dense but fascinating exploration of human behavior. I talked about the podcasts I'd been obsessing over, the ones that unpacked mysteries and explored bizarre historical events. We swapped anecdotes, trivia, and recommendations, our words dancing effortlessly from one topic to the next. "Do you ever wish you could just pause time and live in a conversation?" I asked him at one point, my chin propped on my hand. He tilted his head, considering the question. His fingers traced the rim of his mug as he spoke.
"I think the best conversations don't pause life. They make you forget it's even moving."
I smiled at that, warmth blooming in my chest. "That's poetic. You're full of surprises, aren't you?" He shrugged, but there was a flicker of pride in his calm expression.
"I try."
Our dates became a series of mini adventures after that. One weekend, we explored an art museum. We spent hours wandering through the galleries, stopping at each piece to share our wildly different interpretations. He approached art with quiet analysis, while I loved to let my imagination run wild. By the end of it, we were laughing so hard over our made-up backstory for a particularly bizarre sculpture that the museum staff gave us a pointed glare. Another time, Oliver invited me to a lecture on quantum mechanics. It wasn't my area of expertise, but his enthusiasm was infectious. He leaned over during the lecture, whispering explanations whenever I looked particularly lost. I found myself marveling at his patience, not just with the topic, but with me. I had a habit of asking questions in rapid succession, my thoughts bouncing like pinballs, and yet he never seemed annoyed. Instead, he embraced my curiosity, even encouraged it. "Most people would find me exhausting," I admitted as we walked out of the lecture hall that night. Oliver glanced at me, his brow furrowing slightly.
"Why would you think that?"
I shrugged, stuffing my hands into my coat pockets. "I don't know. I can be a lot sometimes. People tell me I'm hard to keep up with."
"Well,"
he said, his voice steady.
"I don't think you're hard to keep up with. I think you're exciting."
For someone like me who thrived on variety and spontaneity, Oliver brought a kind of grounding presence I hadn't realized I needed. He was calm to my storm, structure to my chaos, and yet he never tried to change me. I could tell he saw me for who I was, restless, curious, sometimes scattered, and instead of pulling away, he leaned in. That in itself felt like magic. But even as we grew closer, I couldn't ignore the tiny voice in my head whispering, "How long can this last?" The truth is, I've always had a complicated relationship with routine. I craved excitement, novelty, the thrill of the unknown. Even with Oliver, there were moments when I felt the itch to break free. Not from him, but from the idea of settling into something predictable. It scared me, that feeling. It made me wonder if I was wired to keep running, even from something good. Still, I pushed those thoughts aside. With Oliver, every moment felt like an adventure, even if it was something as simple as sitting in a park debating the merits of different poetry styles. He had a way of making me feel present, something I wasn't used to. Normally, my mind was always a step ahead, already plotting the next move or chasing the next idea. But with him, I wanted to stay in the moment. One evening, as we sat on a bench overlooking the city skyline, I asked him, "Do you think people can ever truly change?" He turned to me, his expression thoughtful.
I think people can grow,
He said,
but change? That depends on what you mean. Are you asking if someone can become someone entirely different?
I shook my head. Not different, just better. Or maybe more balanced. His eyes softened.
I think we all have the capacity to balance ourselves. It just takes time. And sometimes, someone to remind us that we're worth the effort.
His words stayed with me long after that night. Maybe that was why I felt so drawn to him, because for the first time, I believed someone could accept my restless, dual nature without trying to fix or tame it. With Oliver, I felt like I could be all the versions of myself without fear of judgment. And for someone like me, that was everything.